This is a brief address to the Pittsburgh Public Schools. The first fact is that I went to the office. I was sent to the office by the music teacher because I was biting my fingernails bloody. I was terrified for good reason. I was being circled by adult murderers and stolen cars, and everybody could see that that was happening. It was organized by the Tives, the Blumenfelds, Ruth Hammer, basically the Jewish community. And they were attacking me and threatening to kill me. The office laughed at me, threw me out. The music teacher walked me to the corner, refused to walk me home. I hid in the towel closet. And this is the consequence of ignoring deadly hate crime being directed against a Pittsburgh public school student. Situation we have today on the brink of World War III. Instead of doing something constructive, like trying to figure out what happened and protecting me as a witness, the attackers have held the upper hand through the whole thing by malicious slander. The women in the city of Pittsburgh have a sort of, I'm not sure how to put it, they have a sort of snickering malice amongst themselves. And when you become an object of their snickering malice, it doesn't matter what happens to you. Now, the administration of the NAACP can hardly claim that they didn't know this was going on. How did they justify it? Through black psychology, they say they refuse to do anything constructive for a deaf white child pleading for his life from, after all, the Ku Klux Klan because it's a white child. So they initiated the fabrication that it was a provincial norm and just provide cover stories for their own deadly enemies. Why? Because it was a white liberal child who was being tortured. So they're the ones who threw out the door the idea of common cause. There was no common cause for them. So what they invent is the idea that I was sympathetic to the Ku Klux Klan. I remember seeing black students, a well-dressed black students' notebooks being kicked and being sick to my stomach. I remember pleading for help from the murderers who were throwing rocks at school buses, being slapped for trying to comfort a black girl who was being heckled. I remember how happy I was at Lecce Alternative High School. I won't offend the goblins of that horrible city by saying anything further about a fellow poet. But the bottom line is they're making it up. They had this plan somehow, a condition of partnership between the extreme edge of black power coming from cultivated people from Africa with alliances in the Deutsche Bank, evidently, and the KKK. So weird is their impresario routine that they actually claimed that a man espousing Joseph Goebbels from a crowd who wrote Midnight in Maine and Race and Reason and Race and Reality surrounding Carlton Putnam and the Jackson Immunogenic Labs were the patron saints of the NAACP and the JDL. And they did this shamelessly on the anniversary of International Holocaust Memorial Day. How does that work? Oh, it's lost in the oligarchy's mind machine of symbols, Martin Heidegger and Pink Floyd and all the rest. It doesn't make any sense. But people get wowed by being impressed by things that they can identify with that don't make any sense. It's known as hypnography. And the bottom line is the Pittsburgh Public Schools, by allowing Martin Sheen and Vince Irene to drag a child through the glass of their horrible sadism and negligence, have allowed Access Hollywood to establish goblin like total dominion from the towers of the Cathedral of Learning over the Pittsburgh Public Schools. By telling the truth, I'm offering you a way out. If you don't want to tell the truth, at least stop lying.